Hello, and welcome back to the podcast of Writing with Witches, where two witches talk about writing um, and all kinds of other witchy topics, which are, you never know what direction we're going to go.
Yeah.
My name's Leona Urbanski. I am an author with my debut novel coming out early next year, and my co host is.
I am Nicole Autumn. I am the author of the Secret Society series that has 3 books currently published in it. I am working on the final one currently. So yeah. I
We're
thought I
all
was
very
going
excited.
somewhere, but wasn't sure where I was going.
That's story of our life, like we just said.
Yeah.
Um, so today we're talking about one of our favorite topics, and I'm saying this non-sarcastically for once, character creation. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But before we do that, any book news?
So for book news, I am close to chapter 40 in revisions. I think I stopped at 38, so I'm getting real close. And I believe it's 52 chapters in total. So I'm right there in the long haul, and I'm getting so close to being done with this first set of revisions. And I have also commissioned some extra character art, which newsletters should be going out next week. So if you want to get a little sneak peek of like the color blocked concept art that I've gotten so far, or if I get anything before then, you might want to sign up for my newsletter on my website so you can get that little sneak peek. So other than that, that's all I got.
Okay. I have a little bit of book news. I am over 50% done on the rewrite of this book. I have a rough timeline now. As of now, which is middle of October, um, I will be hopefully opening up arcs for Fire Magic start of December. This episode is coming out the beginning of November, so you have a little time still to hopefully sign up for an arc. Um, and then I'm gonna for 30 days, somewhere between the beginning of February and the end of March, it's gonna have the Kickstarter run. And oh my God, please, you guys, let's make this thing funded because I had an hour and a half meeting with my graphic artist earlier this week. I am so excited about all the things. Just all the things.
All of the merch.
Because all of the merch.
Yeah.
Even if we don't fund it, we're probably going to be putting a lot of this merch on the store once I have the website up and running for it. But I would really love for this to get funded so that we can get this to all of you guys. So after the Kickstarter finishes, Fire Magic, the first book in the Death Cave trilogy, will hopefully be coming out mid-April. I don't have a definitive date for it yet. I will make sure to get that to you guys as soon as possible, but I'm excited and I'm nervous because that's less than a year that this book is going to be coming out, and this book has been in my head for 20 years. So I hope you guys like it.
It's good. I'm reading the revisions and it is good.
There, I have Nicole's seal of approval. We're all good.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no smut. No, I'm just kidding. Half a
There
star
is
left.
no
I'm just
smut.
kidding.
Half a star left from Nicole. I expect it. No.
No.
This is very much, if you haven't heard me talk about Fire Magic before, very much high fantasy, epic journey type. Think Taken the movie in Lord of the Rings fantasy world, basically, and
Yeah.
that's where we're going. So no, there is no smut.
Yeah.
That's not the focus.
Bummer. But it is what it is. I got, like I said, I got the side smut, so
You do have the side smut.
I'm good. I'm good.
So alrighty. So all of that said, are we ready to dive into creating a character?
Yes.
Alrighty.
So, when creating characters, and we can start with main character, right? Um, you want to make them as three-dimensional as possible. Um, and with that, I think the first question is that I hear a lot of authors are, is it a self insert? Are you putting yourself in as the character? Um, some people do this. I know I don't think I really did it, but there are definitely certain things that, like, with my main character, Amy, there are definitely things that she likes that I'm like, okay, I'm going to make her like this because, like, she says her favorite movie is Practical Magic. I'm like, okay, I have to throw that in there. Dr. Pepper is like her favorite soda, which I love Dr. Pepper. So, like, there's little things that I'll throw in there, but I wouldn't say she's 100% a self insert. But, some people really like to put themselves in their stories and, write out their whole little universe with them being the main character.
I mean, I'm actually kind of guilty of that because a lot of my stories do, honestly, and you know which ones I'm talking about,
Yeah.
they do start out as my daydreams. And if I take them seriously and start to write them down, that's when, for me, the characters emerge and take on their own personality. So, to be fair, every one of my main characters has a little sliver of me in there still.
Yeah.
Um, that's just unavoidable with the way that I write. Like, even the one that is the most self insert thing I've ever done is turning out to be a different person than I am, which I'm glad about. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to be giving you all a freaking self insert. That's putting myself out there a little bit too much, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, all of my characters, there's definitely a sliver of me in there, some aspect of my personality that most people are like, yeah, I can see where that's coming from you.
I mean, in that situation, in that, if you, when you put it that way, then I would say yeah. Because, I mean, you are writing it. So your characters are going to take on, I think, a little bit of either a personality trait or at least your way of thinking to an extent. Um, but I mean, it kind of starts that way. Like when I made Amy, I was like, I want her to be a plus size woman in her 30s. Like, you want them to be relatable. And then as you write them, they morph and change into who they are. Unless someone is like really dead set on what they want their character to be and writing it out, they don't change, which is possible. I not me because I, like I said before, when I write my characters, I'm doing what they're telling me to write. I don't make their decisions. They're telling me, because there's things that they do in there in my books that I'm like, stranger danger. No way. I'm not doing that. You're freaking nuts. So, there's that. But I would say yeah, there are definitely personality traits or maybe certain decisions that they make would be similar. But there are some, people that do full on self inserts. Like they are the main character. I can't really think of any
Those
offhand though.
are those are the epitome of what we like to call the Mary Sues in the fan fiction world. Yes.
I don't know of any right offhand because I don't follow enough authors that closely to know, oh, yeah, that's for sure 100% a self insert.
Honestly, I can't. I'm not saying there isn't one out there, but I've never heard of a successful book having a character that author has stated this was a self insert.
Gotcha. Hmm.
But I also read
Interesting.
a lot of fan fiction, so I've definitely seen it.
Yeah. They're
And
like, oh, yes.
it's to me we've talked about this in the past before when we were talking about tropes. It's not letting your characters grow and evolve into their own person. You are forcing them down this path and they are going to fit into this mold. And personally, I just don't think that's good writing, because letting your characters evolve and tell you who they are as you go is just a lot more fun.
Oh yeah.
You are interacting with these completely different people. Like, I sometimes have this weird headspace where I have a few of the main characters in my head talking to each other from different stories, and they're really pissed off at me, I'm not gonna lie. But hearing their interactions, it is the whole other people talking in your head, which I'm just gonna shut up now.
It makes you sound nuts. I 100%, you sound crazy, but I totally understand, because you're just like, you can have like whole scenes play out and whole dialogue, and you're just like, what is going on? They are full on just having a conversation in my head, and I'm just a bystander. I'm like, okay, this is happening, I guess. I mean, honestly, and I tell people that I will sound crazy when I tell you, but when I start writing, I don't know what's happening. They are telling me what's happening. I don't plan anything. It just happens that way. And they're telling me that. And I know people are probably like, this lady is nuts. And I'm like, then I guess I'm freaking walnuts, because I don't know what else to say, because that's how it works. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, once you have deemed whether or not your character is a self-insert, I think we should really move on from this topic before I keep going.
Yeah. So with creating your characters, after you decide self-insert or not, you have to start adding layers, right? You don't want your characters to be two-dimensional and have nothing outside of themselves besides, they're illiterate or they are a hunter and that's all they do. Like, and I don't mean like yours. I said that because I thought of her last name and I was like, hunter. But no. She has layers. She is a very complex woman, let me tell you. But no, there is just we've all read characters where it's like they take one character trait and they bash it over the head the entire book and the character is flat. Right? Adding, hobbies is a good way to get your characters to feel more real. Like Amy mentions that she does yoga and she likes to read. She is a what was the word? She's like the town historian. She loves history. Unofficially, like town historian, right? So she has hobbies outside of, her basically being a witch and going on this adventure with finding that out. There's having those layers of things that your characters like to do makes them more relatable to readers and more full.
I think one way, if you're not sure what your character's like traits, hobbies, professions, sexual preferences, whatever are, it can be fun to kind of get into the headset of that character, let them speak. Anyway,
just let them speak through you.
Let them speak through you. Take one of like the dating profile quizzes.
Yeah.
And fill it out from that headspace. And that will make you think harder about this character and reveal more of themselves to you, so that if you know something later, you can bring it up later in the book that is going to now feel natural because you've known this about them since the beginning, rather than it coming up out of nowhere. So yeah, that can be fun. Or D&D character sheets, filling those out can be fun. There's all kinds of character creation sheets out there that you can utilize to help flesh out your character and give give them something beyond that one trait that was probably what prompted them to appear in your head in the first place.
Yeah. Um, so on the topic of the dating thing, right? If you are writing romance, depending on what you're writing or how you're writing it, I will tell you, and this topic does come up in my book series, which is BDSM, and the way they interact with each other. They have full on check sheets to decide whether or not what someone is into. I did them for my characters to know what the fuck is going on. Like, who's into what? And I know that sounds crazy because I'm doing this from the perspective of 4 fucking people, which seems really weird, but it worked. Except if you've read my book series, The Secret Society, Leo, one of my main male characters, on that check sheet, I wrote that he was straight. I later find out in book 2 that he's actually pansexual. Like, if he likes you, and he's down for it. So things change as well. But you can use those check sheets specifically if you could do it with any character, deciding on what you're writing. But I would say if you're writing romance and you plan for it to be an open door, explicit romance, I advise maybe doing that for your characters. You may be surprised what they may be into. So yeah, there's that other option, because you mentioned the dating website thing and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I did something like that. And like, it just sparked the memory because that was going to be a heavy topic in mine.
I thought you were going to tell me that he was originally a rope bunny, and I'm like, no, that was never an option.
Oh, no. That one came up real early, that he did not like being tied down. He does not like anything restraining him. No handcuffs, no ropes, no nylon, no nothing. So I was like, okay. And then
off on that one.
Eventually the trauma came out and I'm like, oh, that's why. So you learn about your characters, which that would have been a spoiler if I said, but read it and you'll find out.
Right.
But with that would also be like the sexual preferences. Like, are they straight? Are they gay? Are they pansexual? Are they asexual? You never know until you start writing, you know? But after you decide personality traits, professions, all of that stuff, then comes the fun part. What do they look like? Okay. I am a Sims player. I create all of my characters in The Sims, so I can fully see them fleshed out. Because at first it's kind of like dream. Like when you see someone in a dream, like you could see certain aspects, but you can't fully see their face. So I go on The Sims and I actually make my characters top to bottom and figure out their style. Do they have tattoos? This is a good spot to figure out, like, do they have tattoos? And I know they have a lot of other like character creation websites where you can make even just like little headshots of them. So yeah.
No AI.
No AI. No AI. Wrong. Bad. Don't use that. I almost said.
Sorry.
So my husband, when he gets mad at my daughter, he goes, "No, bad GG." And I almost said that. I don't know where the GG came from because her name has no G's in it at all. But I almost said it. And I was like, scolding you like a child. Don't use AI. There are character creation websites where you pick, you know, like you sit and you click through the options. Don't use AI. That's bad.
So, one, I think you should absolutely download Secret Society characters to the gallery so people can download them now. Now they know they exist.
So, okay. The crazy thing is I did have them, but it was on my old laptop. The one that my youngest spilled coffee onto. Fried it. I would put them on the gallery. Only thing is I created them on my last laptop, and my youngest daughter spilled an entire cup of coffee on the keyboard and ruined it. And I had not saved them to the gallery yet. They were still in just my library. So most of them are not there. But Azraelin is. For whatever reason, he's the only one that made it to the gallery. I will say, if you decide to download them, I can leave my EA ID down below so you can find them. But there is CC on it, or custom content. So if you decide you want to download them, you may have to alter them a little bit, because I want to make them as real in my head as possible, and sometimes the sim doesn't give you all those options. So yeah,
That is true.
I should start actually uploading all my characters.
You should do it, and then they can just guess like which book is this one going to be out in.
Yeah.
So I am one of those people, and you know this, and I've probably mentioned this on the podcast before. It is very difficult for me to visualize things in my head.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I am very face blind. I cannot describe faces for my life. Like, Nicole sent me a picture one time. She's like, "Do you think it's more like this or this?" And I'm like, "You are asking the wrong person." Like, I have literally, to try and describe the facial features of one of my characters, sent Nicole a picture of an actor. It's like, "How would you describe this?"
Yep. I do remember that.
So my appearances when I create characters, you will not see very many defining facial features. Most of how they're referenced are their hair color, eye color, and if they have any distinguishing scars. Otherwise, feel free to imagine my character's face any way you want, because I don't even know. This is one reason I'm so excited, and I told Alex this, I'm so excited to actually have a graphic artist be drawing these characters. And yes, Alex does have the revisions of my book so that she can draw them as accurately as possible. Because I'm excited to see what they look like. I mean, literally, in my mind, I cannot see them. I am so face blind. Okay. I am good friends with someone from college, but I only see them like once or twice a year, right? I message them on Facebook most of the time. I went to meet with her at this powwow, and I'm texting her on the phone, and my sister's with me. And I was like, "I'm by the bathrooms." And my sister kind of nudges my shoulder, and she's like, "Is that her?" She'd never met her. I was like, "Yes." And my friend's just looking at me like, "I'm right here." And I'm like, "I am so sorry."
That is hilarious.
Bad.
I mean, I get,
but yes. That is how face blind I am.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that bad.
It's that bad. It's really that bad. Yeah. Like, okay, one of my main male characters is based off of a mix of a friend of mine and Jeff Castellucci from Voice Play. And I was talking to somebody, and I thought they looked alike. I don't remember if it was you or my other friend. Were like, they look nothing alike. I'm like, oh.
I don't think it was me, because when you said that name, I was like, I don't even know who that is. Like, I know you've showed me Voice Play before, but I don't know any of their names. So I'm like, I don't know. So it may have been another friend.
One, of course. So yeah, so that tells you how feel free to imagine my characters the way Alex imagines my characters, because that will probably be their final form.
Yeah. I think she did a really good job with Brenna, though, who is the on her cover of Fire Magic. If you've signed up for her Substack, you will have seen it. And I thought she did an amazing job at getting Brenna. Because that's very similar to how she looked in my mind. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks so good.
Yeah, so and I went on this bit of a tangent because I also just wanted to let people that are like me know just because you can't visualize them in your mind doesn't mean you can't create a character. You can be as vague as you want and let people put their own features in to the characters. If all you can say about them is they have black hair and green eyes, that's enough. Most people will take off running from there.
Oh yeah.
So don't be discouraged if you can't see them in your head.
Hear their voices.
I hear their voices.
I can tell you what they sound like.
That's what they sound like. But I can't tell you what they look like beyond hair color, eye color, and if they have a scar.
Yeah.
So don't be discouraged by if you can't go in. Like I've watched Sims players sit there and adjust the little facial features on Sims, just and I'm like, I don't see any difference, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not that bad. I don't sit there and like tweak every single little bit of like a Sim's face, but I will get it to where it is close enough that I'm like, okay, this is. And I feel like the only person that really came out as accurate as I see them in my head would probably be Leo and Amy. Those two are, I'm like, that is spot on exactly what they look like. Azraelin was too. Only difference is when I lost, like, there was something that with his character, something came off of his face during Sims that I had to replace. And I'm like, well, that just doesn't look the same. But that doesn't look the same at all. But yeah, that I can't sit there and tweak every single little thing. And profiles, don't ask me about profiles, like what they look like from the side. I don't give a shit. I just want to see what this from the front looks like. They could literally look so spot on gorgeous and then like turn to the side and they like have like a freaking jowl for all I know. I don't know. From the front, they look beautiful though. So I don't get that particular with creating. But I would say moving on because we talked a lot about that.
We've been, anyway.
As you could tell, this is probably some of our favorite points is making our characters because they're what makes the story come to life. To life? Life. So once you have your character created, right? Now you have to start thinking about who they are. And one of those things would be like their motivations, figuring out what motivates them to keep going, to keep whatever for your book. I will say I don't think that far ahead when I am writing my characters. I make what they look like, and as I write, they tell me. And sometimes motivations shift. Sometimes, you know, characteristics that I think they'll have, they're like, no, I don't think so. Like, for example, with Amy, I said she had tattoos. I know this is like more character creation and not motivations and like who they are. But it turns out later on, no, she doesn't have any. Because when she sees like tattoos, they're like, oh, do I have to get one of those to be in part of the order? Because they all have matching tattoos. But sometimes the motivations as you write them will change. So I would keep that in mind as you decide your characters.
And see, it's funny, and I am not throwing any shade to people that create characters, appearances and personalities first. That how you create your character is how you create your character. There's no wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're a college creative writing professor. Because every professor I've had that teaches writing is like, you don't make a character until you know what their motivation is. And I'm like, yeah. So mine actually do usually start with some kind of motivation that has just kind of been ingrained into me. Like Brenna in Fire Magic, I knew exactly what her motivation was off right from the start. Skitter in the Silver Eyes book, I knew what her motivation was right from the start. And
Yeah.
so, and then mine kind of get built around that motivation, and they sort of evolve in my mind from that. So again, it's how your mind is wired, man. It's
Yeah.
there's really no wrong way. We both have what I consider to be good books, and we write very different ways.
Yeah.
So, but it works. So, like I said, there's no wrong way. I think eventually you do have to have some kind of motivation for your character to continue in the way that they're continuing. Otherwise, it's very hard to keep their decisions they make consistent. Like if they're flip flopping all over the place, maybe that's a motivation. Maybe they are a waffler. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that motivation be maybe they're a waffler because they're a people pleaser.
Yeah.
That's a motivation. So to me, having that motivation does help you keep a character consistent and make sense to the reader.
Yeah.
So.
I think the hard part for me is when I'm creating a character, I don't know how exactly to spot their motivation. Like I try to keep them consistent in how they make decisions, but like for Amy, it started out as, I guess, learning. She found something that she didn't know what it was and she wanted to learn what it was, and then it got her into a fucking mess. And even now, even in book 3, she's still learning about herself, about the people around her. And there's times where she is stupidly naive, that has come to light in book 3, where you're just like, you should have known better, girl. Don't know what to tell you there. So it's not so much that I don't have motivation. I just don't know how to pinpoint theirs. Where I'm just like, okay, we're going on this journey. Which that could be the case for people that write, too, where you really don't know what it is until you write it. So there is that too. I just have a problem finding those little things. I'm like, what would that be?
Yeah, because even in my short stories, my short story, The Sacrifice, is out now. When I first was writing Meredith, I knew right off the bat her motivation was survival.
Yeah.
Now, if you've read it, you know what happens. But I mean, that was just her walking down the beach. She was just like, I gotta live. And while I know that seems like a very basic motivation in the situation that she is put in, it'll make more sense if you go read it on our website, writingwithwitches.com.
Yeah.
But that's just how my characters start, is they're in a situation and how they act defines their motivation for me, and I kind of go from there. So
yeah. Well, that brings us
but anyway
to our witchy tip. Speaking of witches, no, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of witches,
yeah,
you need like a little bell to start the witchy tip section.
Yeah. Both of us kind of teeter in the kitchen witch aspect. We both enjoy working some magic in the kitchen. One of those would be like tea and coffee rituals. I used to do this more often, but I am trying to get back into not being so lazy as a witch. So I'm going to start incorporating coffee and tea rituals. Do you have any right offhand that you can think of?
Mine's just the very, very basic one that everyone knows from Practical Magic. Just stirring your intentions into your tea.
Oh, yeah.
I can't make it go automatically yet. I'm working on it.
Oh my god, if that would be great. Or like being able to blow candles without having to use a lighter. Oh, yes. The amount of butane you would save. Or like matches.
But yeah, or matches. It's taking whatever your intentions you're setting, maybe you do it at the beginning of the day. Maybe you have a midday tea break. Maybe it's before you go to bed at night. I hope you're not drinking caffeinated it right before you go to bed, but that's your choice. Um, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of mentally in your head or out loud if you feel like you're in a safe space to do so, just setting your intentions for the day. So is it like I am going to complete this project today, or I'm going to put effort into this project today, or is it, can I get help protecting my family, or whatever your intentions are, is kind of stirring them into whatever you're drinking, usually tea or coffee, because those are usually the drinks that you stir.
Yep.
Unless it's a really bad morning and you're mixing up some alcohol, I guess. I don't know.
We've all been
Um,
there.
so to me, that's what I do. It's very, very basic, very, very simple. I doesn't matter what tea I don't drink coffee. I know, shame on me. But it doesn't matter what tea that I'm drinking during that part of the day, or what matters to me is setting my intentions with it.
Yeah. And then you could do baking or cooking. I know a lot of people love baking bread, especially during the Sabbats, like equinoxes and the solstices. Everyone loves a good baking. I mean, I have honey cakes for summer solstice that are so good. So good. I haven't made it in a while. I need to. And then there's cooking with intention. Like, it could be something as simple as beef stew. The herbs that you put in, the vegetables you put in, how you put it in, the intention that you decide how you stir it, bringing in, you do clockwise, getting rid of, you go counterclockwise. So, and when I say getting rid of, like, you can get rid of bad energy. Like, you know, it's that old saying of cooking with love. Right there. Cooking with love. Everything tastes better when it's cooked with love, right? So that is essentially putting your intention and what you want them to feel when they eat it, right? When you want them to feel warm and cozy and loved, and just that was how I made my beef stew. And everyone ate it and they're like, this is fire. And I'm like, that's right.
Or you really want to get rid of a bitch.
I mean, there is that. You make some real spicy food. Yeah, you could. There is also simmer pots that are really great for setting intentions, working magic, and just letting it simmer all day long. And I know a lot of people like doing simmer pots during fall and winter, because one, it makes the house smell amazing. And then two, they do have those added intentions for like abundance and prosperity, because we are coming out of the harvest season. So they like to incorporate that as best you can during fall and winter, which are technically, I guess, not the dead months, but things are not growing. So yeah, I haven't really done many simmer pots. I should do that though, because I've heard they're great.
I am waiting to do a simmer pot until right now we have a gas stove. We are switching that out for an electric stove. I'm kind of waiting to start my simmer pots again until we have the electric stove, because I just don't feel okay with leaving the flame running all the time with my kids. I never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So once we get the electric stove, yeah, everyone in the house loves it when I put on a simmer pot, because I'll just use up what leftover apples and oranges I have. I'll put in the whole cinnamon sticks, rosemary. I like to use star anise seed pods,
Cloves, another good one.
cloves. I'll poke, yeah, cloves. So yeah, it just always smells good. And then, during this, when we get into spring, I'll change it up. Maybe I'll use lemons instead of oranges, or some other herb besides rosemary, depending, or maybe I'm trying to cleanse the house a little more versus just offering protection. So just changing up what you put in the simmer pot. It's probably, unless you really put something weird in there, it's probably going to smell good no matter what you put in it.
Yeah. If you also just don't want to leave a stove on all day, a crock pot is a good simmer pot. They even like one of the small ones will do. So if you have, if you only don't want to use a big giant one, they have small ones. And I can guarantee you, go check a thrift store or any type of secondhand used, you'll probably find one of those small little crock pots, even if it is from the 70s with the original crock pot design on it. You know what I mean? With the little onions and potatoes and stuff like on it. You can find them
and the shitty cord that you're not sure if it's going to go on fire or not.
Yeah. You'll find them. And you could plug that in and let it simmer all day long. And then that way you don't have to worry about it like burning either too. So yeah. And I mean, my go-to is protection. So I always throw something in for protection. I mean, salt is pretty much in every food you eat. Same with pepper. Protection. Boom. So
yep.
You can always add that in to pretty much anything unless it's sweet. I don't think you would add pepper, but salt a little bit. I mean, unless you're doing one of those like chili, pepper, chocolate, something or others.
I mean, they're out there.
Yeah, that's a little bit above my taste profile. But I'm also very picky with what chocolate goes on.
It's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, also one protection in the kitchen that you can use that may not be necessarily actually in the food you eat, but I know one I have a little cinnamon broom right now hanging out in the kitchen to kind of keep the energy clear. And it was actually hilarious because my partner was like, hey, I really love this smell, and I was like, well, freaking buy it then, we'll hang it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like that's cinnamon. Witchcraft, my man.
Right? Oh, and the other ones that I really love are those bags of like cinnamon pine cones. Oh, I just want to stash those all over my house. Just cinnamon pine cones everywhere.
Funny story. I actually since we're moving, I'm still organizing, and I was kind of organizing the holiday shelves earlier before we came to record, and I found the bag of cinnamon pine cones, and I'm just like,
they smell forever. Like, I swear. They, like, even, like, years later, you could accidentally find a bag of those, and they may not be as strong, but they still smell like cinnamon. It's crazy. And I don't know, every time I smell those, it takes me back to, like, when I was a kid, and my mom would take us to, like, craft stores, because they always had them. So anytime I smell that, I think of her and, like, going to craft stores. So now I'm like, it's so nostalgic. I have to buy them. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Anyways, jumping back into character creation. Now we're talking about side characters. And you have to think of them as how's your main character going to interact with them. And even if it's not the main character, it could be like the villain. Even villains have people they interact with. So what is their purpose of being there, and how are you going to interact with them? Some side characters end up becoming so loved that they become main characters of something else. And I would say that probably falls down to how well you flesh out your side characters. Some side characters, they're only meant to be there for, a scene or two, and then they're gone, right? Sometimes they're there just to die. There is that too. But I think the overall is, how is your characters meant to interact with the side characters.
And the fun part about side characters is you may do all this work of setting them up and being like, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And the first interaction they have with your main character completely changes everything.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that if you decide to let your characters do what they want as they move forward. That is why I think it's a good idea to kind of mentally walk through, like, write a little short story. How do they interact? What vibes do you get from them meeting, if you want? That kind of thing. I think I've said it once, I'll say it again. Side character was not supposed to be the love of her freaking life, but he is. Now he's a main character.
Yeah,
he's supposed to just be a information exposition guy.
Just there for information. They had other plans.
Yep.
So like,
yeah.
For example, in Unleashed, I had wrote a side character named Serena, and she was meant to play a part in basically 2 scenes. She is the one conducting a spell on Amy, and that was meant to be it. That's it. That was all it was supposed to be. But yet, somehow, she gets roped into some nasty business, and our characters end up bringing her to safety, and next thing you know, they're way entangled. And she is just there. Now, she isn't there in book 3, but I didn't plan for her to even show up more than what she was. So, yeah, you never know. The interactions you think may just be a quick 1-2 scene situation, and next thing you know, they're having freaking Christmas dinner together. And you're like, that wasn't planned. That was not planned.
Where did that come from?
Where did that happen? I don't know. So there is that. And again, what is their purpose, right? Like I said, she was only meant to cast the spell, to break a spell for us, and then be gone. That didn't happen. So there are characters that you will bring in that are only there to help further the plot. Sometimes they die, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they make reappearances. But I think overall, at least having a starting purpose is a good idea.
Try to have a purpose, and then things might change depending on what they say.
Yeah. And along with that, same with main characters, side characters. What are their motivations? Why are they even there? Were they there because they are in love with your main character? Maybe they hate your main character. Maybe, they are desperate for approval from a father figure, and this character just happens to fit the bill. It could be any number of reasons, but having that motivation can also help you decide how long they are meant to stick around or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you could be like, oh, hey, this is this character that's going to be a mentor, and in the next 5 pages, they somehow die. And then you're like, well, that didn't work.
What a pity. Sorrows.
Such a pity, such a shame.
Yeah. I just think of the Bridgerton sorrows. Prayers. And also, is their role important? Are they there, like I said, to further the plot, or are they literally there for comedic relief? We've all seen those characters, side characters, where they're there just to give you a break from how serious something is. My first thing was the bard in The Witcher. Oh my god, that man. So
Dandelion.
Yeah. So is their role going to be important, or is it something like where you write like I am and you're like, well, they weren't supposed to be important, but here they are. So there's that. But hopefully, when you're bringing in side characters, they serve some purpose either for your main character or the plot to keep things flowing. You don't want to just throw in a bunch of random people that literally make no difference to the story at all. And I will say that is one of my main complaints with a book that we're reading. If you have read The Wheel of Time, the way this man tells you every person's name in the beginning and what they do and who they are and who their siblings are and their wife and their husband and their cousins that live a town over, and there was no purpose. You're like, why do I need to know this information? I understand that they're there, but why did I need to know that their cousins live in the next town over? I don't know.
Come up later.
That's what I'm assuming, but I think giving you the information in a timely manner and not way in the beginning, you know. So you also don't want to overload your readers with too much side character situation, because I have read a few, not just this, The Wheel of Time, but I have even beta read and read other things where they're just naming a whole bunch of other people and they never come up again. And I'm like, what was the point? You could have just said the man over there. They, like, I don't know. For me, naming a character, explaining who they are, and giving detail about them means that they're going to come up later. At least a little bit. But even if it is like a passerby, and they're like, oh, that guy's name is blah, 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 and he lives next door and dates the baker down the street. And I'm like, do I need to know this? So make sure that don't overload us with characterizations of every single body in the book. That might be a little bit much. I was on a little rant. I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine. It's been interesting listening. I hadn't realized how you felt about that.
That is just one thing that I was just like, I don't get it. Why do we need to know all of these people's names?
That's an old school fantasy thing. I'm so used to it. I honestly didn't even notice. I'm so used to it. It's that is just an old school fantasy thing. And my best guess, it's so that it's set up so that later in the story it can come up again. Or I think some authors put it in there as, I'll say, a red herring, so you're never sure exactly who's going to be important later and who's not. And I mean, yeah, I didn't even notice it. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's so and so. Yeah, that's so and so. Yeah, that's so and so. It's just an old school fantasy thing.
I didn't realize that, because that's the thing, is this is like, I would say this is honestly my first real high fantasy novel that I've read. Like, I've read a lot of urban fantasy. I've read, you know, like paranormal fantasy, stuff like that. But like, most of it was still here on Earth. So this is like my first high fantasy. And again, this was written, I think, in the 90s it started. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, that first couple chapters where they were literally naming every single person in town, the job that they do, their siblings and their cousins. I'm like, I don't understand why I need to know all this. I get it. Like, no. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. Why do I need to know about this one guy's daughter that never gets mentioned again?
I think part of it is world building, because we are in another world, and this kind of sets the basis of, this is how the relationships work in this world. This is kind of the layout of this world. These are the professions. This is like the average size of the family. This is, do people get divorced or not? Is it a long lifespan? That, I think, because, I mean, yeah, this one, Dragonlance, Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar, the Rhapsody trilogy, those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. They're all like that. And so to me, that's just world building.
Yeah.
I don't do it because I've been taught to keep my stories pretty lean.
Yeah.
So I don't go into that kind of thing, but yeah, no. I didn't even notice. I'm just so
Yeah.
used to it.
And I guess that's the difference, because our reading is, I wouldn't say our reading is drastically different, but you have had more reading time than I have.
That is true.
So, I mean, said you've been reading since the 90s with like the Green Rider series and stuff like that. And I'm like, I was a child in the 90s.
I was reading as a child too. I'm just saying.
Well, no, yeah, but I mean, I wasn't reading full on like book series. Like, I really didn't get into reading until I was like middle school. And that was literally when, like, I think I picked up Twilight in 7th grade before it really got super popular a couple years after that. And that's kind of what sparked me getting into reading, because I loved vampires. Even though now that I'm older, 7th grade me ate that up. Me as an adult, I'm like, this is not great.
For people that know the book that I'm talking about, they're going to be like, what? Clan of the Cave Bear. You ever read it?
I've never even heard of that.
It's a big book. Yeah, I read that when I was like 11 or 12. There's very explicit sexual assault and smut scenes in there.
Yeah, well, that's like a lot of people, they're like, yeah, my introduction to smut was like Flowers in the Attic. And the crazy thing is I remember seeing that book in my mom's glass bookcase, because she had all of her romance novels in a glass bookcase that she had, but we were not allowed to touch it. All of the books that we could touch were in the hallway, and hers were in her room. So I remember seeing the cover of that book, though, and I'm like, I could not even imagine reading anything that was in that bookshelf at 12 years old. But a lot of people say they read that book at like 12. I was like, good Lord.
It's not right. I shouldn't have read it that young. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't let my kids read it at that age.
Growing up in, the 90s era of, we don't give a shit what you watch or you read. Just go away. Go do something.
My mom cared, but she also wasn't going to like audit every single book that I read either. And she just didn't know. I don't think she knew quite what was in that book before she saw me reading it. So
yeah, my parents were more like, they didn't want me watching horror movies, but yet, when it came to other stuff, I mean, I watched Titanic at 8, and there's like a full-on sex scene in it, and they were like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm like, as an adult now, I'm like, are you kidding me? My oldest is 12, and I'm like, even then I'd be like, you need to close your eyes. You can't watch that. We've gotten way off track.
We have. I think it's time to wrap up the main part of the episode here.
Yes. So anyways, book reviews. I actually finished a book. Would you like to go, or would you like me to?
Your cat says you.
Okay. Bing says it my
I
turn.
know that was yours because it's not mine.
Yeah, he's somewhere. I don't know where he's underneath my desk. Would you like to say hi? No, you're just going to make noise. Okay. So sorry. Me. That's right. So I ended up not watching. Jeez Louise. I ended up reading A Dark and Secret Magic by Wallace Kenny. Listen to it. I listened to it. And the narrator is Abigail Reno, not sure. And it follows a witch who is Hecate Goodwin, and she is 29 30. She was 30, and she is a week out from Samhain. And she is a hedge witch that is realizing that her being a hedge witch was always planned by her mom, and she was never sure why. Because in this book, witches on their 13th birthday choose what they are going to specialize in witchcraft. So if you wanted to be a kitchen witch, you decided that on your 13th birthday. If you wanted to be a book witch, everyone decided at 13. For whatever reason, when Hecate Goodwin was born, her mom named her a hedge witch the day she was born. And for all her life, she felt like she was kind of robbed of the decision to who she was going to be and what witchcraft she was going to do. And she kind of comes to terms with it. And eventually she starts learning that there were reasons why her mom picked that specific craft. And that is where the secrets come in. And it is dark. And I know I read some of the reviews afterwards. A lot of people were saying this book was not dark at all, which I'm sorry. Being a hedge witch and dealing with life and death can take very dark turns. And when she ends up falling for a necromancer, hello, dark. There is all kinds of talk of blood magic and all kinds of stuff that is... Honestly, it gave you the Halloween witchy vibes that, like, during this time of year is perfect. Which actually at this point, it's November when you guys see this. It's November at this point. Yeah, I read this in October, mid-October. So it is definitely giving the Samhain Halloween vibes with the pumpkins, and it is so good, though. I really loved it. It does have romance, but it is a slow burn. There is no smut. I will always let everyone know there is no smut, or there is smut. But I honestly didn't miss it in this book because just of how fast-paced things were going and just the storyline in general. I wasn't missing it. I did give it a 5-star because I really enjoyed it. And if you are someone that actually likes witchcraft and is into that, I really think you would like this book because it is like legit shit. I mean, granted, no one can heal cuts or mend like broken glass objects, which would be pretty sick, but it's still there. The vibes are there. And I really, really enjoyed it. So
cool.
5 stars.
Yeah, that's on my TBR.
It's good. I'm telling you. I think you would really like it because she is a hedge witch, and I think you mentioned you do hedge witchcraft.
A little bit.
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 So yeah, and she kind of in the book, she's like basically is missing half her craft. And she's like, oh, well, this is just what I've been taught. And there was no other hedge witches. So I learned from my mom. And then, the hot necromancer comes and he's like, girl, you only know half your shit. Like, let me show you. So
let me show you.
No, it's not that kind of book. But it is good. I listened to it and I liked the narrator. It was read really well. So I would suggest picking it up.
I will note that next time I'm in a bookstore.
Yeah. It is good.
So, okay. Are you done?
Yep.
Okay. Mine's a little drier. I read The Art of Lucid Dreaming by Claire R. Johnson, PhD. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just practices and ways to help you become lucid in dreams. If you don't know what that means, it means basically being conscious during your dreams. Most people will associate that automatically with being in control of your dreams. And as she points out in here, that's an option if you want to control your dreams, or you can just be conscious and let it take it where you will. Or you can be like, no, I want to do this tonight. Like go fly or go have really good sex. She has a whole little section devoted to that, which was freaking hilarious. I loved it.
I mean, hey.
So yeah, she's got it divided into, I think it's 3 sections if I remember correctly. Part 1, part 2, part 3. So part 1 is how to get lucid in your dreams. Part 2 is how to stay lucid, because once you get to that state, you have to actually be able to stay in that state. Otherwise, you don't realize you're dreaming again. And then part 3 was the best techniques for guiding your lucid dreams. So if you want to be in control of your dreams and guide it a certain way, that's what those techniques are for. And it's really fun. There's a lot of little works to do with it, little mini exercises, practices to do with it. She also has at the end a quiz about what kind of sleeper / dreamer you are, because when you take the quiz, it'll help you decide, make a little program for yourself of all the different practices that she provides, like pick and choose the ones that work for you. She's like, not all of these are going to work for everyone. Everyone is different. Everyone has their own way their brain functions. So pick and choose what works for you. If something's not working for you, don't keep doing it.
Yeah.
Let it go and move on to something else. So I really appreciate that she did specifically state that in here of you can't do every single one of these, because these are just, she's like, even I don't know every single one of these. She's been teaching how to do lucid dreams for years, and some of these are from her students and it works for them. So she's like, okay, I'll put it in the book. So yeah, if you're interested in getting into lucid dreaming, I think this is a very good introduction. She does have another book out there that I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was apparently a very popular book within the dream community. Yeah, it was an interesting book. I'm looking forward to not being so burnt out to actually try some of these practices.
Yeah. I feel like I have been able to lucid dream for a while. Like you literally, I've dreamt and I'm just like, oh, I'm in the middle of a dream. Look at that.
What might help you with this book is being able to stay in that state for longer, or ways to
Yeah.
guide it in the ways that you want to go. So
That would be interesting. I should look that one up. Add that one to my TBR.
yep, we're just adding to the TBRs tonight, man.
There's so many. And we went to Books A Million and I saw like this whole rack and I'm like, oh, that looks good. And that looks good. Oh my God. I have so many pictures on my phone because I could only buy so many books. But I'm like, ooh, I want to add that to my TBR. No, I want to write. There's so many. So many.
Legit.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of our episode. And you can find us at writingwithwitches.com, as well as emailing us at writingwithwitches@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook. I said Facebook, YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a Discord server, all at Writing with Witches. So if you would like to find us there, you can. And you can find me at all the aforementioned places, as well as author Nicole Autumn. I have my own Discord server, as well as my website and newsletter and a Buy Me a Coffee. All of that will be linked below for you in my link tree.
Okay, so you can find me, Leona Urbanski, on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on Substack. I have my Substack set up, so I'm sending out art as it comes in, as well as little snippets of the book. You get some little sneak peeks. We are also doing the short stories. It's the middle of the month right now, so it'll be coming out towards the end of the month. Will be a new one, and yeah, I'm pretty limited right now. I'm not gonna lie on where you're gonna find me. So Facebook and Instagram, baby.
Hey, that's fair. And her Substack.
And my Substack. Oh, also, just as a note, because I didn't realize this, so I was looking. This is technically episode 20. I know it says 19, but we started with 0. So we're
Oh, that's
technically on
right.
episode 20.
Wow. That's
I
nuts.
know, it's crazy. We've been doing this for
20
20
episodes.
episodes, man.
That's a long time. Since
Yep, I agree.
July, June. Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
We started first episode aired July 1st. We've been going since
Dang.
middle of summer.
Nice.
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 Alrighty.
So
I'm waiting for it.
yeah, the next episode, you can look forward to us diving into the settings of books and discussing that. So if you enjoyed, I hope you come to our next episode, whether you're watching or listening. And where was I going? Anyways, have a good time. Have a good night. I need to go to bed. Thank you all for watching
Bye.
and listening. Bye-bye.